Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Stranger Things 3, Chapter 6. It's called E Pluribus Unum, and I probably butchered that pronunciation.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
I was gonna say that was the smoothest intro you've done yet, and then you got to the what I assume was Latin, and it just shot to hell.
I don't think I hesitated that much.
You just stumbled on it a little bit, and
To be
you
fair,
could
it's
have
in
ruined your
line!
flow.
It's in line! I am not going to take shit because I didn't pronounce something correct in Latin.
I'm just saying, it's a shame that the Latin occurred on your best attempt yet.
Hey, I got 2 more episodes to go. I've
Yeah,
got perfection to come just yet. So, Chapter 6, and as expected after the conclusion of last episode, we did indeed get some hot action at the start of this with the mini Demogorgon, or, well, technically it's bigger, or mini Mind Flayer. I'm confused right now as to if it's a big Demogorgon or a mini Mind Flayer. I guess it's a mini Mind Flayer because it forms one.
Flare.
Yeah, because it forms one big Mind Flayer later, and it's all part of the Mind Flayer. So yeah, that logic stands. But it reminded me more of the Demogorgon in season 1, just seeing Elle fight it and throw it around.
Sure,
It felt
the size of it.
Yeah. Because obviously we get a bit of horror here, where obviously Nancy has to run. Jonathan's trying to distract it, but it's having none of it.
That light flickering was intense.
Very great. And I do like that I was saying last episode that the kids will see lights flickering and come to help, and that's exactly what happened at the start of this episode.
Yeah. To be fair, Will also was immediately like, he's here.
He's here. Because once he's the cyborg, and I'm not just saying this because cyborg was mentioned in the last episode. And you know what? No one said it in the comments yet, but when I was editing or putting in the ad for the last episode, I did notice that I said Vic Stone, made cyborg out of his son. Obviously, Silas Stone is the father. Vic Stone is cyborg. I just misspoke. Okay, before anyone says anything, I realized I said that. Right? It was just a silly accident. That was all. Before any nerds come in and be like, no, Vic Stone's cyborg. Silas Stone is his son. I know. Slip of the tongue.
I want to give him shit, but he does know.
Yeah, I know. We literally just did Doom Patrol Season 1, where Silas and Vic were prominent characters.
We're 160 odd episodes into a DC Comics podcast. He may not always recognize Starfire.
Oh, shut up.
He knows Silas stuff.
Futuristic Starfire on Command will go with a haircut. Come on, it wasn't exactly traditional Starfire. Anyway, so they were off to the rescue. The mini Mind Flayer does this really cool thing where Nancy actually gets into a room, locks the door, but it kind of deforms a la T-1000, or
sludges its way under the door.
Or actually, because of all the moving parts that were kind of like, because T-1000 is such a smooth puddle of emotion.
Yeah,
it reminded me a little bit more of Maggot Man, shrinking down, dropping down and then sort of coming through the vents and stuff. Maggot Man, you may remember from Watch My Line Part 1 and 2 of the hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Before the 5-minute mark, he Ed baby. He pretended to be a beauty product salesman to get into the house.
We don't need backstory on the Buffy episode.
It was one of the assassins sent to kill Buffy. Anyway, so it comes in the room. Jonathan is desperately trying to break in the door. What he's going to do when he breaks in the door, I don't know, because this thing's huge, and he's Jonathan.
Yeah, but he's giving it a try at least.
Yeah, but luckily Elle and the team show up, and I did laugh that they had
throws it around the room.
Before that though, I did laugh that Max essentially dropped an F-bomb. I mean, obviously they cut away from it and the noise overtook it, but
it was there.
It was just, I don't know, I feel like this warrants an F-bomb.
Yeah, it does.
It warrants an F-bomb. Do you know what I think's funny, actually, is that all the gore stuff in this actually, like, basically makes it an R rating already, but there's this weird thing because it's TV that it's like, I would say this is higher than TV 14.
Yeah, because I know...
I don't think it's actually rated... I don't think it's actually rated that high, right? But I feel like the gore of it.
Do you know what's really weird is I actually noticed the rating when I was watching this time, because I never usually, Netflix actually rates everything. I don't have to, but they do.
Yes.
It pops up at the start of most episodes, and some
Although
text.
one trick here though for Netflix is that when they rate when they're showing the rating for the show, it is the description they give is literally for the whole show. It's not just that one episode, because because sometimes when I go and see a movie and it'll say contains scenes of this, but I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for essentially the one F-bomb or whatever, because it clearly implies that there's going to be the one F-bomb. This just does it for the blanket whole season, so it doesn't mean that everything you see is going to be in that episode.
Right, okay, because I only noticed. I know it's there, like every episode it pops up, but I only noticed this time. I think it was like a 15. Was what it gave it.
It's a 15, which notably you can say F-bombs as much as you want in a 15 in the UK. That's not which is, I guess, what I'm saying is that at least in our rating system, this is strong enough for a 15. Hence, they can drop F-bombs if they want, but they clearly still want this to have the appearance of being PG-13, even though the gore and the monsters are
clearly not.
It's clearly over that bar. Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, whatever. I'll take it. I don't mind. Whatever mushy.
I think they're aware that, you know what, the people watching it are fine.
Yeah, they don't care. So I don't know what the point of my little rant there was, but
that said, I did see a headline of an article like a few days ago saying, I think that there's someone going, "There's too much damn sludge in Stranger Things this season." I'm like, no, there's not.
Weird complaint.
I know.
Well, we could play. I think honestly, the scenes that feel like it kind of put it over that TV-14 probably is the scenes of like adults attacking the kids, like we've seen over the last couple of episodes. I feel like those are the moments where the dark intent of the villain feels what puts it over the edge in terms of the rating.
It is, because I mean, in this episode, you have Russians borderline torturing like Steve, and you're like, this is fine, right?
Yeah. Well, he's an adult now.
No, exactly. Yeah. Like they're about to pull his fingernail off. You're like, this is still fine. But then, Billy grabbing 11 by the throat. Oh no, that's a big no.
Yeah. It feels much darker. It feels more menacing. Not that Nancy wasn't in a tricky situation herself at the start of this one, but so 11 comes in, as we said, and just ragdolls this monster around. It's so satisfying.
It hits both walls, ceiling,
and the ceiling. And then eventually out the window. And then notably, it just immediately puddles again, and then goes through the sewage system, and eventually makes its way back to the bigger main flare back at the steel mill, and reforms with it. And
it's cool.
Which is really
Looks
cool.
Good.
And that's basically what we learn about it this episode, is that all these hosts, it's not really for a body snatchers-esque reason. It's actually because it's almost like it steals their matter by infecting it, and then eventually can come back and be reabsorbed and make itself bigger.
What we saw with the rats, like that's how this mind flayer started, was rats. And okay, you need a shit ton of rats to get to a big size. But humans got a lot more going on in the meat department.
I like the idea that it started with a small, simpler life form, and then it could expand up. Once it got big enough, it could start infecting bigger beings and stuff. And human, I mean, we're not necessarily the biggest animals, but we're probably the biggest animal outside of maybe a big cow in the area. We're probably the biggest.
It's the biggest thing that it can easily get to travel to the place where it is, because you can't get a cow to walk down those stairs quite easily.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if this was set near a zoo and there were some like giraffes and elephants, for the taking, because they'd give it a lot of flesh. If you will. So they fall outside, no trace of it, and they're like, okay, shit, need to regroup. And there's some scenes, I mean, most of their stuff now is essentially trying to have 11 find Billy again, which is difficult. It makes not very happy that they're kind of all relying on her to do this. This is dangerous. She's doing it for like these extended periods of time, got into the mind, pool or whatever.
Yeah, this was a little bit weird for me, because like, everyone's going, "Hey, Mike, calm down. She knows what she's doing," and I understand, like, trust her to what she's doing, but at the same time, he's kind of got a point where everyone's just kind of pressuring her into it, right? Of like, "Hey, you can do this."
Joe, I like about this scene is that I think he does have a point, but at the same time, and his ultimate concern, which leads to him exclaiming that he loves her and he doesn't want anything to happen to her again, is really sweet, and you really sympathize why he's feeling this way. But at the same time, everything everyone says to him when they're confronting him here, when he's like demanding that they back him up with Max because he thinks Max is like taking advantage of her powers, everything everyone says to him is something that he clearly needs to hear as well. because it's like, hey, she's her own person. She can make this choice for herself. She's okay doing it, so she should be allowed to do it. And he's essentially been overprotective, and it leads to this nice moment where he says, I love her, and I don't want to lose her again. And it kind of, like, as much as everyone was still writing what they said, they all kind of shut up for a second, because okay, this is actually not being that controlling. It's more about being, concerned and loved up. And Lucas has got a sick grin in his face.
For the most part, he does have a point, and he goes, "Oh, but this is all pointless because she's not finding them. They're, because the mind flayer can hide itself, which has been established." So,
yeah, except she does, which obviously leads to the question of, this is a trap, because clearly he wants to be found now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I like about that scene, though, is that I feel like I understand where everyone's coming from, and I do think he needs to hear what everyone's saying to him, but at the same time, he does come off being quite sympathetic in why he does feel this way. And it has a nice little payoff as well, where later on, where she's going to, like, try and do a trick where she remembers that she has in the past, at least once, went into a person's memories through her power. So she's going to try and do that again, and he thinks it's dangerous, but she says, hey, I need you to trust me. And it's kind of a sweet moment. Although I'm glancing over at Max, and Max being like, I'm like, all right. Let them have their moment. Right, he's learning.
But
it's fine.
Alternatively, he's not wrong. It is kind of dangerous.
Oh yeah, it is, and it ends up being dangerous where she, when she eventually comes out of it, she's like crying in his arms. Like, it was not an easy trip. But again, it was her choice to take that risk. It was her choice to
absolutely,
to make this potential dangerous trip. And it sets them, in this episode for them, I think more than anything, it just really sets the personal vendetta of the villain, because ultimately she goes through a bunch of Billy's memories, his real memories, of like maybe why he's such an asshole. We got hints that his dad was a bit of a dick before.
I mean, more than a little bit.
Sure. But we see how he is here in this scene. Various memories, where he calls his son a pussy and things like that. And
he's beating the mom.
Yeah, he's beating the mom. And, I do kind of like that it's a storm represented. It's almost like the storm of the monster, where all these memories are. But eventually she gets to the steel mill and she kind of remembers it. But when she tries to come out, she doesn't really come out of the fake world. She comes back into so it's almost Inception-esque, where she comes out of it and she's
and she's still in the room, but no one's there.
Yeah, and Billy's there, and he's like, yeah, now we can all see you, and what we're doing, what we've been building, is all been because of you, for you. And it makes me wonder if, like, the idea is that this version of the Mind Flayer is going to be so big that she can't just, ragdoll it around. That she's going to not just... Because one of the things they bring up in this episode I really liked was Lucas says, well, we know it's a trap, so we won't be surprised and we can kick their ass. And Max rightly points out, no, L's going to kick its ass. We can't really do shit. So I like the idea that the villain's intentionally trying to take away their one big weapon. The idea that if L's ineffective, then what can they do?
Yeah, they don't have to overpower the whole group, just the one of them.
Yeah, which could be really cool, because it means that it has to be a real team effort. It's like, well, how do we fight this now that L can't just Superman our way through it? Like, how do we deal with it now? And that's really exciting. So I don't think it's the most action-packed plot for them this episode, the main group, just because it is mostly sitting around and getting into her mind. After of course, that big opening scene in the hospital. But
yeah, that said, the shot of her falling in the blackness,
is
arguably the most stylish shot of the season.
Yeah, I could see that. But I think this clearly lays down that to the point where she's scared now. It's almost like she could be. I mean, she wasn't really feeling cocky, but she could be getting cocky, because every time she comes up against it, she just
throws it around and she's fine.
Yeah. But this made her scared. This is your traditional end of Act 2. Shit's getting real, and of course at the end of the episode, we see all the infected go to the steel mill. Because it's 4th of July celebration. The fair is up and running. We'll talk about the one scene that happens there earlier on, but they all go and they start being absorbed, and the flare breaks out of the building because it's so big now. It's absorbed all these people. It's party time.
Nobly didn't see it take Billy or Heather.
Heather was walking towards it. I expect Billy won't be taken just for the sake of like having him as the leader still. That can still talk to the characters.
That's true. Yeah.
Heather maybe, although it does make me think that can he be brought back now? Because everyone else is literally just dead. They've all been absorbed.
Yeah, which presumably will be a big moment for Max specifically.
Yeah. Because even though she's had a troubled past with him.
Yeah, but we saw her reaction when they locked him in the sauna.
Yeah, she still wants him to be better. She still wants him to live and improve.
Not be dead.
Yeah, not be dead. So yeah, that'll be a big thing for her. Especially if she has to kill him. Like, like he's coming for her specifically or something like that,
Yeah.
and she has to be the one to kill him. That could be traumatizing. Yeah, the one scene, because obviously, do you know what I like about this? It really sets it up that it's more of a kaiju movie. These last couple of episodes, in the sense that the monster is this big and there's a fair going on. You know, there's a celebration with all these people, all these innocent people who could be killed.
Just stomped on.
That said, the final episode's called the Battle of Starcourt, so I'm excited for the final battle being in the mall. I'm really excited for that.
That's gonna be good.
So the one scene at Starcourt, not Starcourt, sorry, the fair, before that is the Terminator, the Terminator biker comes to demand that the mayor find Hopper and threatens him in a fantastic UFO ride.
That is brilliant, yeah.
Yeah, which just gave it a wonderful visual.
When he throws him around and it all turns on and starts spinning, and it's the only thing going from the outside.
It's all I've really got to say about the scene, other than the mayor being very cowardly, because he's very like, oh, this is kind of your fault. Maybe you should take backup next time. And then he just threatens him. He's like, I'm sorry, I'm in therapy. I lash out. I'm sorry. Please don't kill me.
Yeah,
he's like,
pretty much.
You have
I think
one
it's just
day.
to show us that how deep this connection between them goes. It is that kind of not personal, but that level of intimacy in the relationship of he's always there. He's got direct access to him kind of whenever he wants, it seems. And the mayor's like, hey, I got people on the lookout. As soon as he pops up, he's a moron. He will pop up, and I'm not sure he's wrong about that.
Well, I suppose we'll transition then, because this kind of cut to a scene of Hopper. Because he's basically cut from him saying he's a moron. We'll find him. Don't worry. To him arriving back at the place with Bauman's place with some Burger King, right? And he comes in and he's like, okay, 2 Whoppers just for him and the dude. Nothing for Joyce apparently. Did Joyce not want any food?
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Made me hungry. I'll say that much. But he's like, all right, you got it's a Slurpee. That's what it was called last episode. Slurpee.
Well, it's a Slurpee at Burger King, is what we've learned here.
No. Look at the cup. It's 7-Eleven.
Oh, did he actually go to 7-Eleven
Yeah.
for that? Okay, sure.
That's why he complains that it was nowhere near the Burger King.
You're right. Yeah.
Yes. I don't believe typically Burger Kings do Slurpees. They certainly don't now, from what I've witnessed.
I've seen them do them at least in one Burger King.
Oh, but it's not like a franchise wide thing. They don't all have them.
No, don't think so.
No.
They should though.
They should. Although they switched, I don't know when they switched, but they switched to those fancy machines now where you can like pick specific fruity flavors.
Mine haven't.
Yeah, nah, mine's
no.
did.
Most of my Subways have switched to those where it's the screen and it's like, okay, you want Coca-Cola, but do you want vanilla, cherry? It just adds a bit of flavoring into it. It's not actually like cherry Coke.
Although the answer is always no, I don't want any of this shit in my Coke. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So now we get this great scene where he demands answers, but
Smirnoff.
Alexei. I was trying to remember his real name. We'll call him Smirnoff.
I knew it. I just didn't want to tell you.
Yeah. Nah, he's upset because he wanted cherry and it's strawberry. Who likes cherry more than
shit strawberry?
Who likes cherry more than strawberry? Come on now. What?
Russians. It's a way of telling us, hey, these people are terrible.
Strawberry, out of all the fruit that is red, strawberry is the best, and no one's going to argue this. I'm not saying I don't like raspberry. I'm not saying I don't like other red fruit, but
yeah, that's something. Raspberry might give strawberries a fight for the best.
Come on, strawberry flavored things especially are better than raspberry.
They're pretty good,
things.
but I don't know. Cherry's pretty low on the list, though.
Yeah, I don't like cherry.
I like cherries, like as a fruit, but I really dislike cherry flavoring.
Cherry Coke is like an abomination to all mankind.
It's terrible. Yeah.
I want no part of it. One of the worst days of my life. Vending machine, paid for a Coke, and it gave me a cherry. And I didn't even notice. It was I pressed the right button. It gave me a cherry Coke. I went to take a drink. Like, this tastes weird. What's going on here? Looked at the bottle and was like, "You son of a bitch."
Yeah. Cherry Coke, Dr. Pepper, all of it. Anything with cherry flavour in it. It's terrible.
Yeah, Dr. Pepper can go with it. We're upsetting some people in the comments.
We really are, aren't we? We just went there, Dr. Pepper, throw it down the sink.
People who like Dr. Pepper really stand up for Dr. Pepper. I'm not having it, but Yeah, they really care. I think it's
I-
because the rest of us
I-
shit on it so much.
I would happily take like a Sprite over Dr Pepper, and I'm not even like a huge Sprite lover, but screw Dr Pepper.
I'm not a big Sprite guy, admittedly, either. Anyway, so he refuses to cooperate, so Hopper loses his shit. You know, and gives him the keys outside, shuts the door, gives him the keys to the car, the keys to the handcuffs, and the other two are like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he's
like, "Go get your own cherry Slurpee."
Yeah, and he's like, "Trust me. I know people at this. I've grew up with these people. I've been doing this job for a long time. He's just a shitbag who's more scared of them than he is of us." And because of that, he will not want to leave. And it's a really funny scene because as he's saying all this, it keeps cutting outside.
You can see like, he's taking off the handcuffs. He's running for the car.
Yeah.
He's turning on the music and he's excited.
He turns on the radio. He's got a big smile on his face. He's listening to the music. And they're like, I believe that's the sound of the car starting. And Hopper's like, no, trust. You can tell he's doubting himself, but he's like, no, trust
he's
me.
Like, he's just trying to call our bluff.
Yeah, but the whole thing plays like Hopper is wrong and he's going to get away because Hopper's calling his bluff and he's not going to win, which is why it's perfect. When they run outside because they think he's actually because they hear him. The car's driving a little bit. They hear him drive away, but they get outside and he's stopped at the gate. He's driven up to the gate and he's stopped right there. And I love that as those two are standing there in shock, Hopper just
has a shit-eating grin.
He just saunters out behind them with his big grin on his face. And then Alexei comes back in, he says something in Russian, and nobody doesn't give us a subtitle for it. It waits for Bauman to translate. He's like, what did he say? You like strawberry too. Uh-huh.
This might be one of the funniest scenes of the season.
It's fantastic. What I love about it is that it's funny at first because Hopper's been an idiot, but then it turns out he's right, and the shit-eating grin he's got is beautiful.
It's so good.
It's beautiful. So of course he sits and explains a lot, and he doesn't, say it in terms they understand at first, but of course eventually when he describes the idea of getting into a gate.
Yeah, I think this scene's actually a little bit frustrating in the sense that we've already seen it, right? We've seen this machine with Dustin and the others. So watching him explain it badly in the mistranslation is a little bit frustrating.
I think it works because of the payoff. Because the payoff for me is the moment where Hopper and Joyce realize what he's talking about and they know what it is. Their reactions are kind of... And maybe he didn't do as much of it before that, but you do need to have some frustration where they don't get it. And then it clicks.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think it just goes on a bit too long.
Yeah, you may be right. But of course, this leads to him saying, "Okay, how do we get in?" He's like, "Oh, it's under Star Court, but it's heavily guarded, blah blah." And Hopper leans in and says, "Don't worry, I will get you there. I will protect you, and I will get you there, so we can turn this thing off, so we don't do this." All right, and he's, obviously Bauman translates. He starts laughing. He's like, "Why is he laughing?" It's like, you remind him of a fat Rambo. Oh, so good.
And then it's like even proper Rambo couldn't get in there.
Yeah.
And this is another one where you knew the cut was coming.
Yeah, you
right?
knew it was. It's like no one can break in there. Cut to Dustin.
Yeah, it was there. The whole thing. Just like you know exactly where this is going.
It cuts to Dustin opening up a grate as he pops out the floor. And what's funny is he's already broken in, but the image of him coming out of a grate as if he's sneaking around just makes it funnier.
It does, absolutely.
Dustin get in there. But the final thing with them, though, is that they phone a secret number, which Dr. Owens, Paul Reiser from last season, gave Hopper. And again, all this stuff is really funny because Bauman's like, hey, right, so this is a secure line, but it only works if the call's under 2 minutes. After that, they can start tracing. And he's like, so you need to be quick. He's like, oh, okay. And he's like, oh, hey, I'm...
No, Hopper's like, it's fine, I want them to trace it.
Yeah, but now once the call starts, he's like, I'm Hopper, and Dr. Owens gave me this line. He's like, oh, what's your security code? Oh, my security code. Oh, I've got it. And it takes 10 seconds to get out as well. It's just he keeps drawing every sentence out, and you can just see Bauman busting a blood vessel with every passing second.
Do it. And he finally goes, I'm gonna have to relocate now.
You've compromised me, Jim. You've compromised me. Oh, so good. Oh. So, and he also leaves, call me back at this number, and he gives them Bauman's number at the end, which is when he really loses his shit. Yeah. But the funniest part, though, is Joyce phoning back up because she's not willing to wait. She's like, hey, this is, because it was like a ancient chariot or something like that was his was his
Yeah.
passcode, and she's like, "This is the Ancient Chariot's partner, Wheelbarrow." Winona Ryder's delivery of Wheelbarrow actually broke me.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Actually broke me, and she's like, "No, this is dangerous," because she's like, "Oh, the kids, as far as they think, might be at the fair. It's like, oh, that's 10 minutes away from this gate. Like, they're not safe at all. We have to deal with this."
Yeah, and she's like, "Yo, don't bother coming here. Bring the army and go there now. Go to Starcourt Mall."
Yeah, and I don't know if it cuts straight to this scene, but there's also a scene in the Steve plot where he's talking about the army coming and the cavalry coming. I don't know if it cuts straight to that scene, but it should have.
I don't know if it was straight to that. Actually, you're right.
It's in that region of the episode, though.
It is, yeah, and the Steve bit definitely comes after this.
Yeah, definitely. So they all leave and they're on the way back to town, which leads us nicely back to the other plot. Of course, the first scene of the episode actually deals with Steve and his team, who come back to the main room after, and they're kind of starting to open up about what's going on in the town to Erica and Robin, because they're like, oh shit, like they're going to doom all of mankind, like they're doing all this again, this is dangerous. And the girls are like, what the hell are you guys talking about? Why do you know about any of this? And they don't have time to explain, because the Russian dude that Steve knocked out is not there anymore, and the guards are coming. So red alert goes on, and
so they run right towards the generator.
Yes, and then they have to duck and dive. Fun little chase sequence. They get the kids away, whereas the two teenagers sort of say, "Just go."
Yeah, they're holding it on Dust. I'll never forget you.
So this leads to them being interrogated through the episode, whilst Erica and Dustin are sneaking around in vents and stuff, which is delightful on its own, because Erica does some really great math about how long it's going to take to get back through all the tunnels, back to the elevator and up. And Dustin's like, "Oh my god, you're a nerd." Like, what'd you say, nerd? You're a nerd. You're like a math whiz. It's like, excuse me? Like, well, and let's examine the evidence, shall we? You're a math whiz, right? I can't remember the second one.
It was very interesting politics.
There you go. And then I thought it was like, oh, and you're also a big fan of My Little Pony. He's like, and what does that have to do with anything? Well, let's examine the most recent adventure on My Little Pony, shall we? And he describes it. He's like, those are all fantasy tropes, and fantasy means you're a nerd. And how do you know about My Little Pony? Because I'm a nerd.
Oh, her face.
Yeah.
And I think one of my favorite things with her is that she's willing to believe everything Dustin said about all of the shit. Yeah. But not that Lucas was involved.
That Lucas is some kind of hero.
Yeah. It's just too implausible.
That's just too implausible to swallow. But of course, they eventually get into the room with the story and all the green shit, all the fuel canisters, and they get a little cart, and Erica makes her way to an electric cattle prod.
Yeah, she gives us some shit going, "Oh, do you really think the keys would be left in it?" I mean, to be fair, this is a secret Russian base where they think no one else is in it.
Yeah, it's not like it's in the car park.
Yeah, I mean, why not just leave them in there? All right, hop in, off you go. They're the only ones using it.
And to be fair, like, it's also fairly plausible that there's a little key rack like nearby. Like, I buy this. Yeah. Again, it's a private location. It's not like they expect public to be walking through here.
Yeah, I feel like she gave him a little bit too much shit on this one.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird. She's also like 11 or 12, so I mean
10, I believe, given one of their comments.
10. The parents allowed her to go to the mall on her own at 10?
I'm sure they said 10-year-old.
Yeah. I wonder if they were just ballparking, though, because they don't really know.
Maybe.
Yeah, they're just kind of, yeah.
Maybe it's like one of those things where, it's like everyone's perpetually 12. Like, what are you, like 12?
Yeah.
And that works from like 10 to 15.
Yeah.
Just 12.
Yeah. And arguably, let's say once they're in high school at like 14, 15, then they're just a teenager.
Yeah.
You're just a teenager now.
Yeah.
So we don't really know what they're going to plan. It's like, Dustin thinks they should go and get help instead of try to actually rescue Steve and Robin, which leads us neatly to them. Steve's getting brutalized because they're demanding to know who he works for, and of course he's like, ice cream ahoy, like.
Yeah. Scoops ahoy.
Scoops ahoy, thank you. Scoops ahoy, that's where I work. And I actually, you know what? It was actually kind of touching that when he was passed out and Robin's put next to him, back to back, tied up, she's like saying, you better not hurt him. You better not. Like, she really cares in a way that she's never been this way with him while he's been awake. And it's actually kind of sweet to see it. And he's still not convinced they're not going to be a thing.
Yeah, I think they're playing it too hard now. That I'm convinced it's not happening.
Nah, that's happening. It's happening. She had, I mean, we find out later she had a crush on him in school. She was obsessed with him, as she puts it. But I like them.
This makes me more convinced that it won't happen.
But I like that they're formulating a plan. They're hopping in the chairs, but the idiots fall over, so they can't really do it. After making fun of the Russians for leaving scissors in the room, no less.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I think they were safe.
Yeah. But of course, they give them some drugs, and it's while they're lying on the floor, they kind of have the heart-to-heart, and Steve's like, nah, I mean, none of that shit means anything. You shouldn't want to be popular. It means nothing now that I'm out of school.
Yeah.
And, you know, he does get honest when they've drugged him up a little bit. To the point where when they say, oh, who else knows about this? He's just like, oh, Dustin knows.
Dustin Henderson. He gives them the name and everything.
Yeah, the curly hairs. And I love how Rob is saying, no, Steve, don't. But she's also kind of laughing as she does.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
she does jump in though a bit when they start pulling his fingernails. She's like, all right, fine, I'll tell you the damn. We cracked your code. We literally sling ice cream for a living, and we cracked your code in less than a day.
Yeah, and Steve ends up like, Dustin's away to get the cavalry. He's phoning Hopper. They're going to come in, and they're going to kick you all back to Russia.
And then the alarms start going off.
And he's
like, see?
Yeah, he gets a smug look in his face. He's like, yep, here they come. And then instead it's just Dustin with a cattle rod. And it turns out what they've done is to distract them all, they basically just dumped a bunch of their their into the floor. So there's like layers of, you can see through multiple floors of this acid. It's very alien, actually.
I was going to say, very alien,
yeah. So they come in and untie them, and it's like time to go. So that's kind of where we leave their plot as well.
Yeah.
Reunited
at last.
Delightful. And interestingly, the image I got at the end of the last episode that made me think some of the groups were reuniting this episode is the same image I got in this one. So I feel like I got a glitch last time and I got the wrong one. Because I would say that maybe the images are just random and it doesn't actually relate to the next episode. But every single one I've had between this and Dark have been correct except that one. So
yeah, that is weird.
So I think it was just a glitch in the Netflix matrix.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Oh, that's cool. I'm looking forward to it.
That's my guess.
This was a pretty damn good episode.
Very damn good. I don't know if I loved it as much as the last two, but it's only just because this was kind of the slow down and let the dark threat settle in before we really kick shit off in the final
go into the final act now.
Yeah. Because the final two episodes of Stranger Things in each season have been fantastic. Like, season 1, last 2-3 episodes fantastic. Season 2, last 2-3 fantastic. And it seems to be the same again this season.
So we can hope so.
Yep. I am delighted so far with this season. Might end up even being the strongest season when it's all said and done. We'll see how it pays off. But
yeah, I know. I've seen a few people. I think prefer 1 still. Is a lot of the consensus.
I mean, I maybe have to go back and rewatch it again, but
yeah.
I think I loved the progression in a long form TV show and the characters being more aware of things as long as they're utilized properly and it's not just retreading ground. But I would argue the tactic with the monsters this season has been such a different. They're doing body snatchers in the Thing versus
the big D&D monster.
The big D&D, plus a bit of ET, which was kind of season 1, and season 2 is kind of more aliens-esque.
Yeah, I definitely preferred season 1 over season 2, without doubt.
Yeah, that's fair. I think my stance at the end of season 2 was that I think season 2 has a couple of higher highs, but season 1's a more consistent show overall.
Yeah, season 2 is just a bit too inconsistent to be a better season as a whole. Yeah. But season 3 is definitely given season 1 a fight. It might be the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll know for sure in a couple episodes.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. But yeah, this really set up the threat for the final couple episodes, and assuming that Steve's crew do get out of the lab this coming episode, I see some reunions coming. We'll see if the parents find the kids next episode, and we'll go from there. I love how Karen's plot basically wrapped up after deciding not to have an affair with Billy.
Yeah. And at the start, we were like, "Oh, she's getting plot this season."
I know.
And she didn't really.
Um, but hey, I mean, it wasn't useless because it was there for Billy, because Billy was having plot that led into the main thing. So
No, it was. But if we followed her perspective a bit as well, so
yeah,
we thought we would get more of a, and then we got like the scene with her and Nancy a
yeah.
couple episodes ago, and that's pretty much it.
So it's just, I mean, it was all very useful stuff, but it was still very much a supporting character role as opposed to one of the ensemble leads.
Definitely.
But that is. I mean, she may have stuff in the last couple. Don't get me wrong, but you know, one of the people running from the monster in the fair probably like,
yeah.
Run from the big thing. Where are our kids? Oh, they're fighting. Okay. Oh wait, what? Why are my kids fighting that?
It's usually how these things go.
Yeah. All right. That has been episode 6 of season 3 of Stranger Things. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments. Of course, you can support the show and the channel and everything we do here at Patreon, patreon.com/mailedfuzztv. You can support us for as little as $1 per month, and you get bonuses, some early stuff for that, and generally keep the show going. So go over and have a look at that stuff. You can find a bunch of useful links, even if you don't become a patron specifically. The top post, the welcome post, has a bunch of links to all the various audio feeds, links to some of the main playlists of the various shows we do, as well as some other useful handy links in there. So go and have a look. Obviously, like and subscribe, that helps us out as well. Rate the podcast feed, you know, the audio podcast feed that you may be listening to on Apple Podcasts or whatever else. Give us 5 stars and a review on there, helps us out a lot if you do that. Otherwise, check out other stuff that's coming. We have a lot of other Netflix content actually on its way. We've just found out this week a bit more. In the next coming weeks, over the next month or so, we have returning seasons of Dear White People, Mindhunter, a new sci-fi Netflix show called Another Life, I believe.
Yeah.
Plus,
we still need to cover 3%.
We still need to cover 3%, and I will be soloing the 3rd season of Glow. So there is a lot of Netflix stuff that's going to be on this podcast feed, or just on the YouTube channel in general. What our window that we thought we'd be doing 3% in is basically filled up. So I think we'll probably still start it then and just go one per week, which is I know is a little bit more long form, but given how much other content, if we wait until we have a window, it may be months. So we'll just start doing it once per week.
Just chip away at it.
Yeah, and chip away at it. But yeah, that's the show. So thank you once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?